Hello and welcome to the Cutie Art Crusaders, episode 101 for June 10th, 2014. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer, not this week's editor, but you know, the host. And today I'm joined by...
Burn to One, the special guest coordinator. I'm not actually the host, but this week I'm the special guest coordinator.
And you're the editor this week.
Oh, damn it! I even screwed that up.
Well, I am FlutterGuy317. I am the media manager and neither the host nor the editor for this week. So, yeah.
I'm Atmoswark. I am also neither the host nor the editor this week, and I am not FlutterGuy.
And you did questions.
And I did questions. But what do you do?
Wow,
You didn't do anything either.
Thank goodness this is our first episode, and we have no idea what the heck we're doing. And it's not like we've done this before 100 times or anything. I can literally say that now, guys. I can literally say that we've been doing this 100 times.
It's our first 100th episode.
Yeah, we're a palindrome.
That's not even true. It was our first 100th
So it's
episode
like we're
last
doing this for the first time. Again.
Except not at all.
As long as I don't sing the lyrics, it's fine.
So speaking of new things, I guess. Did you want to talk about the new beginning or intro that we have? Because it's awesome.
New beginnings.
I think I'm surprising people by the fact that we're keeping that intro, because last week we did like the whole like 3-minute like flashback thing, and then we did this cool new intro that was fancy. Now you have to understand, folks, that intro, including the flashback, took 3 days to make. 2 days after work, and then 1 full Saturday to make.
Respect
and so
it.
I'm not going to do that and then not use it again. I did that for the 80s episode. If you'll remember, we had a different intro for the 80s episode, and ever since that happened, I hated myself because I made that intro and then could never use it again. So I vowed the next time I made an intro that we would use it as our new intro. So I made something that we would enjoy seeing every single week. So now we have a new intro. Cool. It was episode 100. I figured something fun and new, right? So yeah.
New and fun.
Yeah. I hope that everyone likes it. It's a bit more intense than the last one, but I had a lot of fun making it, and I think it came out really well. So yeah, that is our new intro from now on. And if you guys missed the old one, then too bad.
Go back and watch our old episodes.
Like, it doesn't really... the old intro is just very simple and... Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It was.
Well, the simple isn't necessarily bad.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. That's true. But super cool and awesome stuff all over the screen is also super awesome.
Yes.
Cool.
So I really enjoy the new intro. I mean, it's much more like crafted and like has like stuff going on. I don't know. I feel like it's more appealing to like new viewers as they come and see it. They're like, oh, these guys know what they're doing. They got like the fancy stuff going on.
And then they watch the show and like, maybe not.
Never mind. Yeah. Well, I think the thing that bothered me the most about the old intro was that it just, it had effort put into it, obviously, but it just had this feeling that it didn't have a lot of effort put into it. And that was something that I wanted to change with this one. So this one looks really like put together. Like
also,
you said.
Watching that flashback last week, wow, we were desaturated at the start.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Goodness.
Shut up. Anyway, so...
The quality on that was awful, but the quality on this new video is top-notch. And speaking of awesome quality, I like how you sound today, Rainbow Plasma.
Thank you. I have a new headset, and it doesn't sound any different because it's the exact same headset that I've been wearing for the last year and a half, except it's a new version because my old version broke.
Yeah.
So
really? Because when I've got the same headset because you told me to buy one, and it was really hard for me to find it. How did you find one again?
2 things. First of all, I live in a country that doesn't have to import everything. So I actually the headset that we have is called a Turtle Beach X12. And it's like a really old version, but it's still really good. So I literally walked to what's called the Future Shop, which is right down the street, which is where you can get all your tech stuff. And I literally took a 5-minute walk, got it. It was on the shelf, and I bought it, and I came home with it. So it wasn't that difficult. I also found out why, and this is going to annoy you a little bit, but I also found out why my audio sounds so good and yours sounds not so good, even though we use the same headset. And the reason is because we figured out that I actually have a really good sound card in my computer, and I didn't even know it. So it's really good at translating analog audio, whereas yours might not be quite as good at translating analog audio, which is what our headset does.
Yeah, I've never done the sound card.
Right.
Well, Rainbow Plasma and myself spent what would you say, like an hour or so looking at like different options.
Probably like 2 hours.
But really, like, your audio sounds good, so, and it really doesn't make any sense.
I was looking for, like, standalone mics and, like, all of that jazz, and it was, like, way too expensive for, like, not a big game, so. Anyways, this is, like, really boring.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
It's actually interesting to me.
My story is I got the same headset I've been wearing for a year and a half. That's my story.
But them gains.
Well, I have exciting things in store, so I guess we'll move on to exciting things.
Let's please move on to something more interesting.
First of exciting news. I'm sick again.
How is that more interesting, Bernd? I said more interesting.
We could talk about international paper sizing.
You're sick. You're sick. Everyone, you're always sick. We've established this point. You and Atmospark are always sick, and Flutterguy and I are never sick. That's the point.
What will make things interesting is I've been chugging tea like all morning, so it's going to be like, when's Bernd going to get up to go to the bathroom during the podcast game? And it'll be fun and we'll have a good time.
Or like, maybe, is it your throat hurting? Because I imagine like halfway through it'll turn to like old man Bernd.
It could. If I run out of tea, I may start to get like really scratchy and be like, I burned off the gray.
Bernd, I think your idea of fun and my idea of fun aren't lining up in this situation here.
All right. Well, let's move on to something that is fun, because I do have a surprise. And it's a lame surprise, but I wanted to show you anyway, because I think it's funny. I've gotten mixed reactions, both my friends like complimenting, and then my parents laughing at me. My dad laughed at me this morning, but I got a new haircut.
Oh, you did? Oh my gosh.
Did you shave your head?
Oh
my god, Bernd, what did you do to your hair?
What have you done?
I love the last one's got your shirt off for no reason. You're going to have to put that one up on the podcast.
The story behind the shirtless picture is I had product in my hair, then I took a shower, and that's what it looks like without product in it.
Oh, no.
Fair enough.
Bernd, Danny is laughing at you as well.
What did you do to your hair?
So I went to the hair cutter. I have a hair cutter I like going to. Her name's Carrie, and she's awesome.
Did you fall asleep?
To a friend of mine, and there's another good friend of mine, RJ, who's growing out his mustache to be like super hipster, like handlebar, like curly thing, and like ridiculous, like he's got wax for it and everything. So I want to join him in his ridiculous hipsterness because I got to fit it in Portland, you know.
Of course.
So anyway, so I was talking to the hair cutter and I was like, I want to do something super like weird and out there because I've never done anything out there with my hair. So I want you to give me something like the most hipster like haircut you can think of, or like punk rock, whatever the heck. Just have fun with it. And she's like, just have fun with it. Like I could do that.
Oh boy.
So she just goes to town on my hair and like shaves the sides. There's little like lines etched into like where the like long starts and the short starts or whatever. Yeah, I need to like trim my beard, but I'm gonna keep the mustache. My beard's too long. So,
man.
But anyway,
you know what?
I don't blame your father for laughing at you.
Okay, look. Okay. Here's the thing, Bernd. Right? I can laugh at you this because it's funny. Okay, it's funny, but I do have a lot of respect for you to have the guts to just go and be like, yeah, just do what you want. And you know what?
Yeah.
I think it could have come out a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless like you turn your head the other way, it's completely shaved in one direction, then it might be bad. But
you totally could have had just like that one little bzzz up the side of your hair.
You could have ended up like Ray from Rooster Teeth.
Yeah, I know.
I was super afraid of looking like a complete tool, but the tons of people who I talked to and asked opinions on, and like people I didn't know, and I made sure to go ask women what they thought, like girls and stuff. So it wasn't just my guy friends be like, oh yeah, no,
yeah, bro, that's cool.
So, but I mean, it was mixed reactions. It was positive from everyone who like I had known or know and stuff. And the consensus was that I don't look like a complete tool because I'm not a tool. So I appreciate that.
You look fine. I will encourage you to go out there and experiment with your hair. So it's cool. I like it. I've always wanted, and I swear we'll get to our guest in a second. I feel so bad. But I guess we have stuff to talk about this week. I've always wanted to do something with my hair as well, but I kind of got it to a style where I kind of like it. So I've always wanted to like dye it, but I've never like had the time or the motivation to like do it. And who knows, maybe this will actually motivate me to do it, because I totally get what you're thinking, where you're like, I just want to try something different, you know?
Yeah, I've never done anything wacky with my hair because I had long hair for like 6 years and I didn't do anything, and I was super afraid of even getting a trim.
Yeah.
So when I was at the hair cutter, I was like, you know what, just screw it.
Yeah.
I still have my luscious locks.
Have fun.
I have a lot of respect for that, because I totally relate there. You know, like I want to do something like crazy with my hair. I want to put like orange highlights in my hair so that it's like a
be free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your hair is like a peacock. You got to let it fly.
But like, the problem is I need to find someone to do that, and I don't have like a good hairstyler near me. So.
Oh, I really like Carrie. I think it's important you find someone you like and like trust, because she's cut my hair like a multiple of times, and I've always liked how it's looked. I've always liked her style of hair cutting, and I've gone to a couple other hair cutters. Not going back there.
Well, so, maybe I'll use this. Maybe I'll use this as motivation.
So speaking of style, yeah, we are an art show.
Speaking of, I didn't actually have peacocks till
10 minutes in, we're just
digging for the transition.
Oh my god, it's 11 minutes.
All right. I will. Should we introduce our guest? I would love to introduce.
Maybe at some point. Maybe give it 15 minutes. Maybe we can warm up to it a little bit more. You know, we just started.
Our guest is amazing. Introduce him.
I'm going to introduce our guest, but to introduce our guest, I must ask for silence. You're gonna have to. All of you must remain silent. AssasinMonkey, are you there?
Yes.
All right. A 3, 2, 1. Morning in CAC shimmers.
Morning in CAC shines.
And I know for absolute certain that everything is certainly fine. There's the guest sitting in our Skype call. There's all the CAC here too.
My interview is ready to go. Can things ever go wrong? I don't think that they will.
Morning in CAC shimmers, morning in CAC shines, and I know for absolute certain that everything is certainly fine.
What just happened?
What did the call just end?
So, really middle of recording and somebody ended the call.
That is ridiculous.
Somebody did something wrong.
What? I don't...
Let's call him back.
What just happened? Did the call just crash?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
101 episodes, and that's the first time that's happened.
So for the record, at the very end of that singing, just at the very, very end, the call ended and we were all booted back to like Skype's main menu. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Skype just really liked your singing so much that
Success. Mission successful.
the only thing I have to say to that is there's a reason why I organized the podcast.
So welcome, AssasinMonkey.
Hey!
Yay!
Hello.
And thank you for serenading us.
Like, that was kind of an intro, right?
Yeah.
Something new, right?
I'm just gonna sit here and let this all happen in front of me.
Kind of girl, yeah. So, AssasinMonkey.
Yes.
For those people out there in our audience who don't know who you are, for some strange reason or another, because I mean everyone knows who you are. Would you like to introduce yourself? What do you do? What is your connection to our show, etc., etc.?
Yes, sure. Always lurking in the shadows, of course, right? But yeah, it was kind of 2 years ago, when I first got, I was introduced to ponies before in early 2012, and then like mid 2012 when I graduated, I had time. I started getting active in the fandom and making pony art and just kind of looking around. And for some reason, I found you guys. So I watched, and I really enjoy any form of sharing of art. And this was just another version, and one with audio and visual. So it was a nice change. So there kind of went on, and I stuck around. I like those kind of routines, just sticking around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of routines, you do a lot of streaming of your art and stuff.
Yes, that's
like,
true.
Very consistent.
Yeah, it started out just in like beginning last year, 2013, just every Saturday, and like in September, I for some reason decided like, okay, like I've been like also randomly streaming throughout the midweek, and now I'm streaming daily at a minimum of 2 hours, which is more like 3 hours.
Wow.
Is this something you just do in your spare time, or is it something that you have used to kind of, I don't know, go professionally with it, or?
Kind of. I kind of use it as an excuse to make art. And like I noticed that it really keeps me making art and not getting distracted. Like I used to game like, I know, 60 hours a week easy, and now it kind of flipped around into art. So that was nice, and I preferred it because, well, since I'm trying to get into game industry, I graduated as a game artist, not high college, but just simple, and well, kind of practice all kind of art practices welcome.
Cool. Yeah. So I wanted to bring up some art so that our viewers have something to see on the screen.
I pulled up 3 of them actually to just give an example.
Oh.
I've got a couple of questions for you in a certain order, but the very first thing was I just wanted to go through a couple of these just to kind of warm up our audience in case they haven't seen. We've had 3 or 4 your pieces on our podcast before for the themed episodes, but there's a couple ones, especially recently, that perhaps people might have seen in other places. I know that your Reign of Magic one was very popular, the one with Tyrek and Twilight.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, there was that. You've got a lot of other ones that are themed around episodes. You've got like Spike of the Games, which was your take on the whole Equestria Games one, and there's ones like In the Clouds, and so these are the kind of things that perhaps we can show our audience to kind of get them warmed up to your style and maybe jog the memory of some people if they happen to not know of you.
Yeah. It seems like you were doing art basically right after each of the episodes aired this season, which is kind of insane. Because I remember watching the episode, going on Reddit a couple of hours later, and all of a sudden your piece is up there and it's of the episode, and it's like, whoa, that's quick. So
yeah, awesome. I kind of started that because I streamed on Saturdays usually, and since the episode kind of airs on Saturdays, I ended up combining the two, watching the episode in my stream eventually, like season 4, and with every episode have at least one piece finished during that stream, and that kind of became my minimum, kind of a consistency build up, and since I mentioned kind of that routine kind of stuck around.
Yeah, and we also have, like I said before, we've featured a couple of your pieces before. I think the most recent one is this one, the Blazing Apple one. Did you feature another one of yours
with beautiful view?
Yes.
There was.
That would have been on the Applejack one.
Yeah. Yeah, because this was the Applejack episode that we did.
I was just thinking, because I wasn't there for that episode. So
yeah. This one we did with just Flutterguy, myself, and Thrayton. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. I know that some people had the question, why, we had our 6 guests on, our 6 fan guests. Why wasn't AssasinMonkey a guest? Because he was going to be a big guest.
Yeah.
And we had planned that.
So there was actually several names who we wanted to invite, like were on our list to invite on to like the special fan guest episode things, but there were certain names we decided not to like invite or take off of that list because we respected them enough as an actual independent artist. So for people who are like, oh, why didn't this person get invited on the show who's an actual artist? Well, yeah, there's probably a reason for that. We'd enjoy to give them the time.
We specifically took them off the list because we feel like we could interview them. Like, for example, today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hello.
Yeah.
Now I feel special.
Well, you are very special.
No. So this piece brings up a good point, and that is that Applejack is best pony.
Yes,
clearly.
Yes.
I was wondering when we get to this.
Yeah, it seems to be a common theme amongst not just a lot of your art, but a lot of your favorites folder.
Nothing suspicious at all. No.
It's like, have people been to us? I think I made a big deal about this before on the show. Or if you go into AssasinMonkey's favorite folder, it's all Applejack.
Literally everything. Normally, people have like a general favorites, and then they have like folders off to the side. Like I know I have like a me folder and a CAC folder and like a Rainbow Dash and Soren folder and that kind of stuff. No. What AssasinMonkey does is he has like an everything else folder off to the side, and his main one is just every single Applejack piece he's ever come across that he likes.
I have a Manchester folder.
Never enough Applejack.
It's an interesting. Now I have to say, I think you're slacking a bit because well, no, I didn't notice whatever the heck you're talking about, but because you only have 8 pages of Applejack, and I have 22 pages of Rainbow Dash, so I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm just saying, get on my level. Like, I'm just saying that. But you know what? I really do. I like when people kind of, I don't know, take characters that are perhaps less arted and kind of take it into their own to kind of give them the spotlight. And I know it sounds strange. They'd be like, Applejack, of course she's arted a lot. But like when you compare it to a lot of the other main 6 pieces, she actually doesn't have a tremendous amount of art. But whenever you have a piece that you just want to stick a random pony into, you seem to choose Applejack a lot.
Yes, this is kind of like you gotta balance it out, right? And why not me? Yay.
Yeah, exactly. And you seem to like whenever you're experimenting with styles and stuff, it's always Applejack that does that, which is really cool because I'm of the opinion that there is not enough awesome Applejack art.
So speaking of style, you have a very, very kind of unique style. At least I think it's unique because whenever I see one of your pieces, I can tell immediately that it's done by you. So how did you kind of come to develop it? Like, did you just draw a lot of art in that style and like fix things here and there, or
style being like overly realistic, like black and white, like value based?
Yeah, I guess I'm not entirely sure where it came from. Like, I don't really have any real artistic background. Like, traditionally I only like pencils and such, and like painting, I never really did anything traditional. Like, I actually started out with a mouse, but I'm not entirely sure where it came from. I think the main connection that I draw between like my pencil work and my other work is that I just kind of throw brushes around, I throw lines around, and I see things. And for me, it seems like I usually start in grayscale, and for me that seems to work nice because I can just throw around one or just gray around and adding color and light. I kind of just grew into that, and I don't know, maybe it also became part of like games, like game development kind of works in layers as well. And I like with the always in my work in progress stuff, I noticed that the last step is suddenly a bunch of lights added and everything, and like things like that. And I sometimes just play around, try things out. Like I don't like even like uncanny horse value or anything. Like I don't really think about it. I just like what's interesting and just go for it. And I feel a lot. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
that leads me into my next thing, which is you pretty much always upload your work in progress shots, and that's great because we love seeing those things. It shows people who are like, they see this finished piece and they think, wow, how the heck did he make this? And then, oh look, there's how I made it. And it's really good to show how you built upon nothing to make that.
Yeah. Do you choose like arbitrary times to just kind of like take a screen cap?
Kind of. It's sometimes it feels kind of natural, like certain steps of levels, like when my mind just goes like, okay, because I can try to get everything up to a certain level of detail and then step back, look, is this done? No, I can add another level of detail. And it kind of builds up in steps like that. And also with like work in progress, I kind of try to deliberately do that because in general with art, I've noticed over the years that sometimes it's easy to just get wowed by by things and get intimidated, but something like the background, like the failures that some artists have, some even professional artists, any artist maybe, is sometimes just kind of hidden away, and that's also been a motivator for me to kind of try and show that more, to show that I can fail, and these streams help with that, the work in progress, and the time-lapse videos and all of that.
It's really cool to see like all these different steps that you take like through your work in progress, kind of, I guess, almost through your eyes, what the different stages are in your art. How do you go about planning out like pieces, like laying out the different things in the scene, and like basically starting from nothing to the finished product? What are kind of your steps for that?
Yeah, I guess for me, that like at one point in time, I kind of had kind of a priority level as in what I find having the biggest priority, and I think that kind of goes for a lot of art, and kind of in art history lessons I kind of learned that it's like I initially start with composition. Like composition is kind of the base. I find that kind of the base of everything, and then after that, kind of finding the lines that everything runs across, and then for me the values become important, and then the colors kind of as the last point. And I guess that kind of also might be a reason why I decide to do the steps that I take.
You said you went to like you graduated, you went to a school. Did you go to a school specifically for art, or was it like game development?
Yeah, it was a bit more game development, kind of fairly broad. I think in English the equivalent would be something along community college. But yeah, like in terms of just traditional art, there was just one class per year or something, like anatomy, and the others were like 2D digital for game art, specifically 3D art history and the basic stuff and such. So it was kind of spread. Still useful though to know all those little things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if I had to guess, like where you got your style from, like the whole concept of laying down composition, then a sketch, and then working on value, and then color as a last part of the steps is like an extremely traditional way of doing things. Even digital. Like there's a big artist who I actually watched an interview on once. His name's Darkin, and he had the same kind of concept where he would always start with his basic like value sketches, and he would actually sketch in value instead of like lines first or whatever. Actually, I don't know if he would use lines, but concept being he would he would do all of his value and then color after that. And like if you went to like an actual like what do you want to say, a concept art school for gaming, like Feng Zhu is a good example. I know Nocturnal Pony, or I Am Not, really likes that outlet. They teach the same exact concept, like lay down composition, lay down value in black and white, and then work color from there. And then like that's something taught in like the concept art field, you know?
Yeah. And a lot of concept art, until it's pushed to the very final stage, is just values, black and white. If you ever pick up like you ever see behind the scenes of some of the more popular games, or sometimes you can pick up like art books, which are really cool. You'll notice that a lot of them are just black and white because, you know, color is almost like an additional side thing, you know, and it's really interesting how that process kind of works.
It's also interesting that like the different choices, I guess, for priorities, because we've seen some artists that really do a lot with like varied colors and stuff like that, but with your art, since there's a heavy priority there's a heavy priority set on value. It really does look more like a traditional painting kind of style, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I mean the cool thing about art, and the thing that should really be, you know, shouldn't be understated, is the fact that, you know, none of these concepts are right or wrong, and schools will teach you one way or another, and there's ways that might be better depending on the kind of finished product you'll get. But, you know, I know some people who lay down colors and then shape those colors in order to make the scene, and that can be, you know, just as interesting. It's just kind of what you're going for, and different techniques to get to similar finished products, and I think the word priority is a really good word for that, right? Because it just means that to some people, something's matter more, and it gains a higher priority in their mind. I mean, even look between the four of us, you know, we all notice different things. And I mean, the one that I can point to that's the most obvious is mine, because I know me. But like, for example, me is like, you know, emotion, and like facial expression. So like if I was a big artist, which I'm not, I would probably focus primarily on the face, like to be like 90% of my work, and then build the scene around that, you know, but that again, that's all about priority, and it's all about almost a personal preference, and schools and things can teach you certain traditional templates for that kind of stuff, but it all comes down to what you're trying to get at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, indeed, and yeah, that's kind of indeed like for every person, kind of that's kind of the challenge for new artists as well, kind of finding your own kind of way, what works for you, what works for what you need to do. Like if you're cartoonish kind of style, then of course like heavy shading like I do might not be appropriate. So the focus priority might be on color, and that's something that sometimes doesn't get emphasized enough. On that any method is kind of right, like anything is okay. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the finished product, you know. Like that's kind of the thing with art. It's the work in progress is great for you to see. We always encourage it, right? And we know that we've pointed out specifically because you put so much effort into making these works in progress, and I know a lot of people appreciate it. But you know, at the end of the day, it kind of doesn't matter if you can still, you know, if your work in progress is awful, but your finished product is not, you know, and you know it's a completely different thing. You know, we were just talking about the fact that you like to primarily focus on putting down the value first. But I actually, just while I was surfing your gallery right now, I actually found an example contrary to that. So I actually want to, while we're on the subject, it's not really what I want to talk about right now, but while we're on the subject, let's roll with it. There's this piece. It's called Dreamscape Belle. And it's Sweetie Belle following on a dusty, starry kind of trail after Luna. And when you take a look at the work in progress, you know, you have your typical like 6 to 8 steps, but normally you have like 80% of the steps are in value, and then you add the color at the end. But this one, you seem to have gotten a general concept and then went straight to the color. Do you want to talk a little bit about this piece specifically?
Yeah, I guess with this one, this scene was fairly new for me. There was nothing really tangible. It was kind of like, well, not really defined shape. So I guess I had a bit of trouble getting it started. And sometimes like when I have trouble getting something started, I sometimes just switch to other methods. Like I do try to explore other methods, like starting with color. It's just also just because it's interesting. And for this piece, I just felt like it might be easier to just kind of do it. And it, for some reason, it worked out, and I just continued.
Yeah, that is cool. And I guess as a piece, like the concept for the piece kind of fits with that whole emphasis on colors, because it is kind of a dreamscape. So I guess things would be a bit more vivid and not quite as painting like, I guess.
Yeah. So another thing that I wanted to talk to you about was something that I noticed when we were taking a look at the Blazing Apple piece. And unfortunately, I've been looking around trying to look at another example, but I can't really find one that's too good. I found one that's okay, and it's I literally just closed the tab because I'm a genius. It's oh, maybe it's this one. No, it's not. It's To the Apple Core. Let me get the link for you. It's called To the Apple Core. And this one gives a particular example in the work in progress where it shows 3 or 4 different iterations first. And to us, doesn't really make too much sense because it's more like your brain just kind of working things out in a composition sense. But something that was really present in like the Blazing Apple one, and you can see it in a couple of other pieces, is that you have sometimes sketched out the 3 or 4 different versions of the piece until you finally got a composition and a scene that really worked for you. And it's really awesome that you keep track of that, because people often will do these works in progress, but it seems like they start out with something in mind and they just go with it and suddenly it appears on the paper, you know? But with these ones, it kind of shows even more behind the scenes of like, hey, look, I thought that they should be on this side, but then I tried it on this side and it actually worked better. And there's actually some pieces that you switch up halfway through, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's indeed, and that kind of differs per piece. I'm not exactly sure when I decide to make another version. I guess it's just kind of like maybe sometimes laziness, like, oh, this'll work, and then sometimes I end up changing it later on. Indeed, and like having different versions can be easy, especially early on, just quickly sketching them out, getting an idea, especially with like Blazing Apple is kind of a dynamic piece, so finding the right dynamic there's a lot of possibilities, like with the positions, a lot of different ways to do that. Well, with the more static ones, there's I feel a bit more limited, maybe in that sense.
Yeah. Or at the very least, like it's easier to kind of get the feel of it in your head, whereas motion is more of a gotta get it down on paper and see how it comes out. Yeah, that would make sense.
And also the thing with like adjusting halfway through, like that's something that I've also gotten through in my head. Like it doesn't, like, even when you almost finish your piece, you can always just kind of move things around. Like if you've made it once, you can make it twice, kind of idea, and maybe even better. So like changing things up doesn't hurt.
So like if you're working on a piece and you get to a certain point in the piece and it's not really working out, do you kind of go back and rework things, or like try and move things around that are currently laid out, or is it like a combination of both, kind of, or if that happens?
Yeah, I've had some pieces where I just kind of completely went back. I think with my recent Discord piece, I went to a certain level, like in a landscape version, but the composition just didn't work out. So and I already had some values there, but I completely scratched that and went back to the sketch version and restarted all the values and such. So sometimes initially I tried to move things around and such, but if like trying to use my insight, like trying to see if it actually does something, if it works, if it will work, or if not, if I don't expect it'll turn out well this way, then I'll do whatever I need to do.
I've noticed that you, in addition to drawing a lot of ponies, you've drawn a lot of griffins and also some humanized versions of ponies, which have come out absolutely fantastically. And I think we've featured this piece called Unfeathered Grounds, before on the show. Yep. And there's also the couple of the humanized pieces, this piece being Apple Bloom. Do you kind of take a different approach when you're trying to draw creatures other than ponies, or is it kind of the same approach, just different species, kind of? Or
so sometimes I do take different approach. With the humans, it's kind of funny how, like, usually I start out with line sketch, but with the humans, I kind of started out with silhouette, and that's one of the few times I've actually kind of done it, and for some reason it seems to work better that way. And maybe with the line sketch I kind of have a combination of that as well, and that might be because of the complexity of the humans, like their silhouettes maybe having a bit more detail, which might be a bit hard to do in quick lines, or maybe I'm just lazy.
That is interesting, because if you look at some of the work in progresses, like the work in progress for the Apple Bloom one or for this Big Mac one, it is a different approach that you take there, where instead of outlining the character, it's basically just blocking it in and then adjusting the value as you go along, which I don't think I've seen anything like that in the time that I've been on this show. So that is pretty interesting.
And I mean, again, that comes down to there's just unfortunately a kind of a lack of documentation when it comes to this kind of stuff, and that's why we really encourage it. And I'm glad that we can encourage someone like you who does a bit of experimenting with this stuff to come out and kind of show the world the different techniques that you might try, because I think people sometimes get blocked into this mentality of there's one way to do things, and they try to make everything fit for that. And, there is playing to your strengths, of course. But, if you want to be the best artist you can be, then you better start experimenting, Some of the greatest artists that we've featured on this show are people who have the crazy ability to switch styles on a whim. And it's because they've researched all of these aspects of what art is and how to make art.
Speaking of switching the way that you have, this one here called Double Doggy Double Pegasus, which is adorable. I've been trying to think of a way to shoehorn this one in. You've got here, like what you've done with a lot of your other ones, with like the big atmosphere, like the big like landscape style pieces. You've got the atmospheric perspective where it sort of gets sort of whiter and less detailed the further you go back. But this one here, you've added a bit of a focus blur towards the background. Is that something that you sort of hadn't done much of? Because I haven't noticed it very much in any of your early ones. And is it something you want to sort of keep trying to do? Because it really works well with this one.
Sometimes I need like new little thingies like that. Like I've had scatter brushes before, like little embers flying out. There's almost different eras for me, like where I just kind of experiment with little things, little new ways to do things. And I guess the blur has become a new one. And I sometimes just try those out and like apply them when I can. And with this one, it just felt appropriate, like the big focus on the double doggy and rainbow dash, and like it just fit, and I just was like, why not? Just trying it out, and like with those kind of things, maybe I'll keep using them, but sometimes I end up forgetting about them for some reason, and I don't even realize that I'm not doing them anymore. So it's kind of fun just trying it out. So.
Yeah, it really does fit with this piece, because like this piece is kind of a little bit lighthearted and very bright.
It's almost a fisheye lens.
Yeah,
the blur.
It
like
is.
A fisheye lens.
It is really cool that you kind of work to try these new things out, even if it's something very small or whatnot. Have you been kind of experimenting with like adding little things besides the blur? Like, I don't know. I guess, well, you've always kind of had some atmospheric perspective, but I've noticed that your pieces keep progressing to get better and better. So I guess I don't even know what I'm trying to ask here, but do you kind of go through and try and refine certain aspects of your art within each piece, and also try and add these new little features in the pieces themselves, or do you kind of like practice before you start up a piece?
I guess I usually just do it on the go, sometimes just emphasizing on something more, just not really thinking about what I'm not doing, but more about what I am going to do. Like with some pieces, I might incorporate a lot of backlighting, like light coming from behind the characters with nice rim lighting, nice glowing edge. And sometimes, like in some pieces, that works a lot, like in the Reign of Magic, that was one where I emphasized on that. And other kind of scenes allow for other priorities and things to focus on. So I kind of just do it on the go, and what sometimes also just what I see around me might inspire me to make a specific scene where I can use that certain technique.
Yeah.
You said earlier that you pretty much just got your hands on a mouse and started drawing. Have you ever tried experimenting with like traditional mediums, like sketching or painting or anything like that?
That's an interesting one. Like the only real thing that I have focused on in the past is kind of pencil work, pencil sketches more, and kind of a bit of cross-hatching. And then at one point I kind of got a tablet, because for me I don't have a lot of room for traditional material because it stacks up way too fast, and the price like the initial buy-in price for traditional is maybe cheaper, but in the long term it becomes more and more expensive. So like I just bought a tablet, one-time purchase, and Photoshop, and I can just try new things out. And in a way I've kind of completely locked off traditional 2D, like how the old traditional artists in like Renaissance and such were limited to traditional. I'm kind of like putting myself in the spot of limiting myself to digital, just maybe even out of curiosity as to what would happen if I do that. Like, how would I turn out to be if I do that?
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Indeed.
Yeah. It is interesting because it's not something that I would usually think of, is that if you do traditional art, you have to buy a ton of supplies.
Yeah. Can confirm.
Yeah.
Traditional art is not cheap.
No.
For sure.
So,
I mean, like, we talked a little bit about your schooling, but it seems like a lot of the stuff that you've kind of learned and practiced with is through ponies now. And I mean, if you look back at the very beginning of your gallery, you've got some pieces in there. You know, what was kind of the start of your artistic journey? Because you seem to have some stuff already established. I know that there's this one piece, and it's the second piece in your featured gallery. It's called Changeling Behemoths. And I mean, obviously looking back now, retrospectively, there's a lot of things that you probably could have done better, and you probably look at it and go, ugh, right? Like all artists do, like anyone does with their old stuff, right? I look back at the first podcast and go, why did I put that filter on? But, you know, but you obviously had some work on, because if you tell me you sat down at a computer with no artistic, you know, background and just started doing that, then I'm gonna hate you.
That's kind of funny because, like like I mentioned earlier, with the game art, there's not a lot of focus on the art aspects. I was kind of lucky that there were at least classmates, and that was a big help. Kind of with the pencil sketches, I could at least like practice anatomy, so I at least got that kind of familiar with, and at least to some level, like values you can do with pencil as well, and cross hatching. So there's a bit of a basis there. Also, like during school, I didn't really do a lot of art, to be honest. Like I was happy to be able to do like one sketch a month almost. Like it was more a bit theory and just putting things together for like game stuff, and or like little frames and such, all those kind of things. So the illustrative side kind of fell flat during my college years, and that eventually, kind of with the year 2012, with the Changing Behemoths piece, that was graduation. So I was free of all those, all the time thing that was school and such. So I could do illustrations, do everything kind of combined for games that I initially planned to do. So
that's cool. Yeah, so you had a lot more time to kind of play around and experiment and draw a lot, and now you draw constantly, like throughout the week and stuff, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird indeed to think back how like it was called like, or well, initially the school was called game design, but game art was kind of the focus. It's kind of a weird thing between those things. But anyway, the art part was indeed kind of lacking, and it's nice to be able to kind of focus on that, and that's something that's important to know about like schools, the different art schools. Like it's not always just drawing stuff, maybe with fine art schools, but with the other ones not really.
When did you get the idea to sort of, I'm going to go ahead and draw an adorable pony and then animate it? When did that come up?
Oh gosh. I guess it kind of transitioned from, since game art, like when it comes to game art, there's like 3D and 2D that was kind of focused, but my own main focus was 2D because like kind of concept art and such, so it kind of transitioned from there. So I wanted to do 2D art, which kind of means drawing frames. So, and since I was familiar with how the process kind of goes, it just kind of like, why not? Like it works, like, and sometimes the stream chat also motivates me, like when I'm drawing a cute little pony, and then like, oh, make her walk, and then I'm okay, sure.
Yeah, that's adorable. So really quickly before we wrap up, I know Rainbow Plasma has one more thing. I wanted to bring up your fan art of us, because I'm narcissistic like that.
Fan art of us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you've drawn quite a few pieces of us.
Off the top of my head, 4, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
It's really interesting because the first piece that you did of us, which is called Cutie Art Crusaders, was very early on in your gallery. So I'm guessing that you kind of started watching our show as you started drawing more and more ponies, which is really cool. And you're always in the chat. But then it's really cool because we've kind of gone along this journey with you as you've improved on your art and kind of drawn us more fan art and stuff. And it's really interesting to see kind of this evolution of your style and your improvements that you make to your art. Because you kind of gave us this little series of art, which shows us kind of claiming some land and walking through a thing. And then
it seems like every 6 months or so there's a new thing, because it started, like on the new year of 2013, and then we had one for our 1 year, which was mid 2013, and then there was the one for Christmas, which was like the end of 2013, and it seems like you get these kind of like progress marks, and it's really cool to kind of look back and you can see your progress directly.
But it's an incredible amount of improvement. I mean, just look at the first one, Cutie Art Crusading, comparative to any of the later ones in 2013, like the one you made of me, or the last journey in this series that you made, the Everfree of Wonders, where like now everything's developed, now like values developed, now the characters have horse faces.
But look at Flutterguy's face! I know! So cute.
Fun little fact, AssasinMonkey here was one of the first people to ever email our show and ask for a bit of a critique on one of his images.
It is true.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I don't keep track.
So
no, it's true. He asked for like Applejack and armor.
Yeah,
if I remember right.
Cool.
That's cool.
So I don't really have a question about that. I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, for the amazing fan art, and to say that it is really, really cool that we got to kind of follow you along in this journey, and you got to follow us along in our journey. So
is this what I indeed kind of enjoy about this kind of showing that progress over time?
Yeah. Let me do a tiny bit of translation, because I spend way too much time around Flutterguy. So we can do a bit of translation occasionally when we meet. What he means is you're due. And it's been 6 months, and I mean we've been waiting. All I'm saying is have the progress report on my desk by Monday. I'm joking, of course.
Yeah.
As a special guest supervisor, I don't want to have to, crack the hammer down.
I mean, like, we have this baseball bat, but like it's mostly just there for show, and it looks kind of pretty, but we can take it out of the case if we have to. So
honestly, we're very surrounded here.
There's 4 of us and only 1 monkey.
Honestly, like, I always enjoy seeing your new pieces, no matter what they are. So whether it's us or like show characters or anything else, it's always really cool to see what you create, because you do have this really cool style that you've developed, and it's constantly improving. And even like your most recent piece, which is Apple Time, is like really, really well done. And yeah, it's really cool to see that. So.
Yay. So I have 2 more things that I'm going to use to wrap up here. So the first one is going to be a compliment of sorts, although it's not going to sound like it at first. But there was something I will admit to you face to face that kind of put me off about your art for a long time. And I think that you could probably see this coming, but I am a huge guy when it comes to faces. And for whatever reason, for a long time, the way that you did your characters' faces didn't really click with me. But what I wanted to tell you was that recently it's been really clicking with me, and I think that you've made a lot of maybe subtle strides with that. Like you just mentioned, Flutterguy, you mentioned it's probably still up on the screen, the Apple Time one. Like that one came out, like 2 days ago as of recording. And I think that it's still in your style of like really realistic, but it's in the past I would have perhaps looked at certain things like that and gone like, not really my thing. But recently you've been really making great strides with that. So I'm not sure if you've purposely been improving on that, but I think you've done a really good job either way.
I kind of felt that one coming. I don't exactly shy away from the somewhat creepy or stuff, or that what might be perceived as creepy.
Right.
Uncanny Horse Valley.
It's that it's the Uncanny Horse Valley concept.
Yeah.
But it's the same point that I think I made a couple episodes ago where, like, even if there is a style that is, you know, off-putting at first because it is different or because it is out there, because it dips into that valley, like, you shouldn't, you know, dismiss it right away and like disappreciate it because it is different or off-putting, you know, because it is still something, and the fact that it's causing a reaction at all, you know, may be a deficit or preface, to that it actually is, like, you know, something good.
But I did also want to point out that I think you have been making really good progress on that, and I think you've come out of that dip in the Uncanny Horse Valley.
Like, on levels of horsey, you were definitely in the extreme, and now it's settled down a bit, but it's there.
Okay, yeah. Well, anyways, I want to say you've done a really good job of that, and occasionally on this show, I like to not just be all happy and offer a little bit of critique, but my critique ended up being, it used to be meh, now it's good. At least for me, again, it's very subjective, right?
I can handle anything you throw at me.
Oh, don't say that.
Well, it is interesting because there are a lot of styles out there, like Holy V, I can think of, and My Magic Dream and stuff, where it is a little kind of off-putting for some people. But yeah, no, it's yeah. What Rainbow Plasma said, your faces look amazing now, especially like in the most recent piece.
There's some really big improvement there that I don't think a lot of people might have noticed, but I've definitely noticed your improvement. Also, the second thing I wanted to say was, did you have a very happy birthday?
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Because I know you had a birthday very recently.
Yes. It just ended for me like 2 hours ago.
Oh yeah! Happy birthday!
Mm-hmm.
Hey!
So your
birthday.
June 6th then?
Yes, 6/6.
Cool.
Easy to remember.
Yeah.
I have to say, I love the way that you describe your birthday, and I've seen it on you know, when I messaged you about it, you know, and when you said it on like Twitter and stuff. I love the way that you're. Here, why don't you describe the way that you tell people about your birthday or how you celebrate your birthday?
Yeah, we're just all going around the sun, right? Like another turn around the sun.
Yeah, I love the way he puts it. It's just like, everybody, let's all go around the sun again.
Yeah.
I don't know why, it's just really funny to me. But anyways, happy birthday. Hope you had a wonderful one.
Much, man. I hope you enjoyed your birthday gift.
This was totally planned and not at all.
Totally
completely
wasn't
random.
just some random crazy coincidence.
No. I mean, come on, Fred, don't be ridiculous.
Give it some credit.
Could you imagine if we did? I mean, come on.
Could you just imagine if everything wasn't planned in the show and Vern just does stuff without telling Rainbow Plasma? No, that wouldn't happen, because then Rainbow Plasma would have to go off and Vern and start over.
That never happens.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely
not. It's it's all magic, and you should continue to believe that. If you
Vern's
want
a magical
to live.
unicorn.
So one last question, really quick. Your OC is adorable. Do you enjoy being a monkey? And
He was also an assassin.
He's a
why?
monkey.
Yes, kind of my little abomination. I got attached to it. I've always kind of been a monkey, so why not?
He's a ponky.
Punky, yes, indeed.
It's a pony monkey.
Yep.
It's punky. I like it. It's a good. I like when you mash words together. Can you tell?
My headcanon is that you're just actually like a sentient monkey, like on the other side of this mic. Like you're actually just some actual monkey in the middle of Norway and like has his like secret layer of like digital art. Yeah, that's my fan fiction. I'm sticking with it.
Exactly. Well, this is coming up to that time. So, in fact, we're over that time. So, whoops. Anyways, why don't we get to the plugs, and then we can also, because I keep forgetting every single time we have someone on, I keep forgetting to plug the person we have on. So let's do our plugs, and then I will remember to also do your plugs. Okay?
Well, why don't we get the guest to do this first?
Because that way ours aren't last, and so that people can remember the guests more because they came last.
Fair enough. Okay. So our plugs. We have an email address, which is cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com. Sending questions and etc. there. We have a Facebook, which is Cutie Art Crusaders on the Facebook. We have Twitter, which is @CutieArtCrusade. We have a DeviantArt account, which is cutieartcrusaders.deviantart.com. And we now have a Tumblr, which is cutieartcrusaders.tumblr.com. You can also send in questions that way, and we get them from there as well. Thank you to those of you who have sent in questions through Tumblr, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome.
Datamne, what happened to my face? I got overruled and now it is gone. I'm sorry.
We're still figuring out Tumblr. We're actually going to sit down after this episode is done recording and sit down with Silver, who kind of put together a Tumblr, and be like, how do we use this? Because none of us use Tumblr. But we'll figure it out, and we're using it now. So
atmospark.tumblr.com. I have one.
Go there, like him. Or
I'm glad
I don't know what you
decided to throw that in. So now
I have one follower at the moment, and it is Silver.
Speaking of plugs, AssasinMonkey, if we had a couple places that we might want to find you, where could we find you?
Yeah, I guess my primary hub is kind of my DeviantArt, like AssasinMonkey, not DeviantArt.com. Missed the last S. I'm missing an S for a reason. Can make sense out of it. I won't.
ASSASIN monkey.
Yes. So the second set of double S's is missing an S because
there's no double S. Or there's no
it's ASSASIN.
No, the regular word assassin has 2 double S's.
See,
it took me forever to realize that.
I've been spelling your name for so long that I just totally forgot that assassin has 2 pairs of 2 S's.
I was actually trying to hunt down your DeviantArt once, like a year ago. I think it was in 2012, and I couldn't find your bloody DeviantArt because I didn't know how you misspelt assassin. I'm like, AssasinMonkey's taken, and it's some goofball who drew an actual, like, monkey in an Ezio outfit. Like, this isn't the one I'm looking for.
Something sneaky like that.
But not quite. Exactly. So, yeah, that'll be up there on your DeviantArt. But I think your other big one is your live stream, right?
Yes, indeed, and I update my journals on DeviantArt often with the times I start and end, but yeah, live stream is my big other folks where I'm often at, so visit that, I suppose, and, well, I guess I have YouTube and Twitter, which, for some things. Twitter I don't really use yet.
Emergencies.
Yeah, I can't get used to Twitter still.
So. I do like it when people kind of congregate something together. Like, we have plugs for 4 or 5 different places, but we really congregate around DeviantArt. You know, like, that's our main place. And if you want the best and most informed things, then you go to DeviantArt. And I like it when people kind of do that. It doesn't have to be DeviantArt all the time, but I like it when people they give like a home base to things. Actually, theoretically speaking, the best thing possible would be to get your own website. If you're thinking like, what's the best way for me to get a home base, it's make your own website. But that's besides the point. But yeah, so you can go check him out at assassinmonkey.deviantart.com or on his live stream. Is it AssasinMonkey? Is it livestream.com?
Yes, the same. Yes, yeah. I have the same name everywhere.
Cool. That is also a really good idea. Consistent naming. I could do a class on this. Anyways, that is it for this week, guys. So
do we have a theme for next week? Maybe?
Now, here's the thing, okay? So last week we didn't have a theme because Bernd sprung the fact that we had AssasinMonkey on the podcast. So I'm just going to go out here right now before saying anything and just ask Bernd, because apparently he's springing things on us. So, Bernd, do we have anything? Is there anything in particular next week that you want to tell us?
No one who I've invited.
Awesome. Aww. Thank you for making that abundantly clear. So now I can say, remember that break that I said we'd have last week? We're going to have that this week, where we're not going to tell you the theme because we need to detox our brains after having like 8 straight weeks of like super planning.
Surprises!
So next week's theme is a surprise. No, we're not doing surprise. It's a surprise. It's a surprise.
Can we do surprise?
No.
Maybe.
Anyways, so next week's theme will be a surprise. In the future, we're going to start trying to do the themes so that you guys know. But this week, just a deep breath in, deep breath out. We're just going to keep it relaxed and not deal with that. So next week will be a surprise. Hope you guys enjoy that. I'm sure it will be wonderful. Not quite as wonderful as our guest, though.
Oh.
That is true. Thank you so much, AssasinMonkey. This was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
And
thanks for singing with me.
Yeah.
Thanks for tolerating Burns' crazy plans.
Maybe it was mine all along. Who knows?
Co-conspirators, maybe.
Yes, thank you. It was lovely having you on. Thank you for being such a good fan to us and not forgetting about us when you get all popular. Yay! Yeah, it's really nice of you to keep in touch with us, whether or not that's coming down to the live streams or such like that. It's really cool. So thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing my love of Applejack.
Guy 317.
Ever since I switched my second favorite pony to Twilight, he's been feeling a bit lonely. So it's nice to see more Applejack supporters, and I approve. All right. Well, I guess that's everything. Sweet. No, that's totally good. I thought someone else was going to talk. No, it'll be cool. So that's everything for this week, guys. I hope that everyone watching has enjoyed this as much as we've enjoyed it. Whether or not you're on the live stream or on YouTube, we love you all the same. My name is Rainbow Plasma.
My name is Burndo1.
I'm Flutter Guy 317.
I'm Atmos Spark.
AssasinMonkey.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.